Well, we are live. I want to say hello to Kevin.
Hi, Christy.
I want to say hello to our fine guest here, Thom Cantrall. How you doing?
Hi there.
How you doing, Thom?
Now, first of all, I got two
Better than your average
messages.
bear.
I got two messages to tell everybody before we get started. Lewis couldn't be here tonight because his uncle is very sick. So we sent out prayers to Lewis and his uncle, praying for him to get well. I know it's bad timing. Everybody goes through that period.
You all might have seen John Rodriguez in the chat.
Yes, in the chat. That's John.
Moderator. He is one of our moderators, so let's send prayers out to him that he gets through whatever is ailing him, and he could join us in the chat very soon.
Exactly. We need him to come back and heal well. Oh, we lost Thom.
He'll come back.
Yeah, he'll come back. And then two, I have something that I want to do for people for Christmas. We're going to do some other stuff, but this is something that I talked to Lewis and Kevin about, and they thought it would be a wonderful idea. Now, coming December, I am going to order 3 of these, okay? And then there's another one that's solid brown, and I don't have him yet, but I will get him for me. So next show, hopefully, next 2 shows we do, I'll have a matchup of 2, and y'all tell me which ones y'all like. But I think he's really cute. But we're going to do a giveaway. I'm going to do a stuffed animal with a gift card. Now, what I need to do is I need everybody to put into the comments what type of gift card do you think would be sufficient. Home Depot, Walmart, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, anything, and I'll look through it and see. So anyway, that's going to be, I'm going to do a couple of these as a giveaway. So I will pick, I will see who's in the chat room, and I'll put your name down on a little piece of paper, and then when I go live, I'm going to shake it in a clear bucket, and I'm going to pull your name out, and that's the person who gets the prize. So I wanted to start off. Where is Thom at? He hasn't come back in.
That, you know, would be funny is if we took all the names, stuck them in Mercy's bucket, and told her pick one and leave it right here. Wouldn't that be hilarious if it worked?
You need to try that.
You know what I mean? Pick one out and set it right here, and that's the winner. That would be awesome to have a Bigfoot pick the winner. That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, it would be. You know? So I'm trying to text Thom to come back on. Let me say hello to who's in the chat room, and then you can go from there. We got Miss Sharon. Hello, my darling.
How you doing, Sharon? Glad to see you.
We got Duke, World Bigfoot Radio. My man.
Right on.
We got Mopar Bill. Hello.
How you doing, Mopar Bill? I've had conversations on the phone with Mopar Bill. He's been around the block in the topic, man. Let me tell you.
We have to get him on the show.
Yeah, well, maybe someday he'll be willing to do that.
And then let's see, we got Johnny Half. How you doing, Johnny?
How's it going, Johnny? We got Lewis. Lewis is in here. How you doing, buddy?
Where's he at? I didn't see him.
I see he's the 3rd one up right now on my screen.
Oh, hey, Lewis. Like we said, many prayers to your uncle. We love him. We're saying prayers for him.
Yep, we hope you get through whatever it is that's bothering you and get back to the chat real soon.
Yeah. Come on, Thom, where you at, man? He did a disappearing act. Unless his
Lockbeard.
Hello, Lockbeard. How are you?
Glad to see you. I think we have our moderator, Squatchaholic, in here somewhere.
Yeah, hello, Squatchaholic. I'm sorry, I didn't scroll. Okay, yeah, I see Lewis. There's Lewis. Close page shipping.
So just
there's Thom. There's Thom.
Just to let everyone know, Squatchaholic is on double duty, and she's going to be kicking butt and
That's right. Oh, look.
kicking butt and erasing names. I guess
That's
that's how
it.
you put it in the chat room, right? That's how that works.
Yes,
So
we got
keep it clean, keep it respectful.
exactly
And,
family oriented. We got Kill
right.
Switch, and then we got Chris Jarvis. Hello, Chris. How you doing,
How
baby?
you doing, Chris?
So, okay, you can take it from here, Kevin.
Well, we have our wonderful guest Thom Cantrall back again, but this time we're here to talk about his new book that just hit the stand. So didn't it?
It did, and that's the book, and it's called Sasquatch Face to Face. And what it is a compilation of 32 encounters with Sasquatch. Most of them, virtually all of them, face-to-face encounters. And they're from all over North America, from Georgia to British Columbia. I didn't put any in from Canada, from Alaska this time. I just didn't happen to have one that I had time to vet and work with. But there's some good material in there. From a 6-year-old picking blackberries and reaches over and a hairy arm picks up the vine so he can pick blackberries off of it. And
how cool is that?
And that's something else.
So many times we hear these horrible drawn out encounters and stuff. Oh, he chased me out of the woods and he was throwing stuff at me and felt like it wanted to kill me and this and that and the other. But we don't hear about these wonderful stories where a big hairy arm lifted up blackberry vines to help a 6-year-old child pick berries deeper in the bush.
Yep, unreal. Also, and I addressed that in this book, I have several instances of just the type of thing you were talking about. I was so scared I could not move. I was rigid. I was comatose with fear. And all the being had done was stood there and looked at him. The fear came from here.
Yeah.
Okay. Not from what he was seeing, but just from within. And I'm totally of the opinion, and it's backed up pretty well by fact as I know it, that if you're respectful, you're going to have no trouble. You're not in any trouble with them at all. Just
I actually made a comment. I made a comment in actually one of my last 3 videos that they absolutely have a sense of respect.
Absolutely.
And when you go, when people come into your house, you expect them to respect you in your home. It's just an unspoken thing. Now, the woods or the forest or whatever it may be, that's their home. So be respectful of them and their home. That's all. It's not hard to do,
That's right.
So,
and they expect people to come in hunting. They understand hunting. They do it for a living. Okay.
Yep.
They understand.
That's how they survive.
Yeah, but they also understand respect. And if you shoot at one, you stand by for trouble.
Right.
I guarantee you, if you remember the velociraptors in Jurassic Park, they're never alone.
Yep.
Same concept here.
Same thing.
Alone. You may only see one.
But that's one thing I've learned actually by them is you're looking at one, you're not seeing the ones on either side of you.
That's right.
It's a wonderful tactic. It's an absolute great tactic.
It is, and very effective for defense, because you trying to focus on one of them in the brush is going to take 100% of your concentration, and you have no time for looking anywhere else.
Right.
And besides, he's going to take their eyes off of one anyway at that point. But, I'm 77 years old, and I still tell people, if you think you have an aggressive Sasquatch, come get me. I'll stand between you and them. It's just that simple.
Right.
They're not an aggressive being.
And I think a lot of I think a lot of the aggressive sightings aren't so much as aggressive as they are a test to see
Well,
how you're
you got
going
to
to
remember,
react.
a lot of these sightings too are of juveniles and adolescents.
Yes.
And who is more full of pee and vinegar than an
Right.
adolescent male in any species?
It's just like senior
Okay.
on senior prank day.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And who gets in more trouble than adolescent males in any
Right.
species?
Just
You know,
like humans. What did we do? We got in trouble as adolescent males. I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah, we look back at our age now and what we did when we were 15, 16, 17 years old and wonder how we ever survived it. I mean, you could have gotten pretty long odds on me ever seeing 21 when I was about 7
Oh,
years.
I can vouch for the same, man. I mean, I've got a long history of competitive skateboarding and downhill mountain biking and dirt bike riding and snowboarding, and I've gotten myself into some pretty hairy situations where I just thought in my head, well, here it is. This is the moment.
Yeah.
And somehow I came out of it. You know, it's just one of those things, you know. I mean,
Yep.
it's what we do to live, you know. It's how we learn, you know.
My dad and I were hunting one day, and when we came together, I reached in my pocket and I said, "Want an apple or some berries?" He said, "What do you bother to bring a lunch for?" He said, "You find more to eat out here than what
Right.
most people can bring."
Right,
And,
right. Yeah,
you know,
you just go about 100 yards to the big black oak tree. You turn left. You go about another 50 yards. You hang a right at the cedar, and there's Burger King right there.
yeah, right. or our equivalent of a Burger King, but
Right,
50s.
right.
And yeah, but also in this book, and one of the stories I like to relate is by a former federal law enforcement official, and who had no time for even discussion of mind speak until he was walking along and a voice said, "Step away from her." So he moved away from the woman he was with. "Why are you carrying a gun?"
I'm assuming that the gun was between him and her, and he wanted them to step away so they can get a better verification.
He wanted to be isolated, yeah. They knew the landowner, knew her very well. And they explained, "Well, I'm a federal agent. I'm required by law to always carry a weapon. It's just for self-defense." And there's no, and so they accepted that, went on with it. And then what happened next is absolutely unbelievable, except that they have audio of it going on. So if you read that section, see what happened, then get a hold of me and I'll hook you up with the audio. You can.
Oh, nice.
You can, listen to what went on that night with that group of Sasquatch. And it was a clan. It was a family group. It wasn't a clan. It was a family group. And that's one. Okay. Just from teenage girls camped alone to seasoned hunters, just the things that have happened to them. And one report in there, this again, seasoned researchers, been doing it for some time, have had multiple face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball sightings, spent the night communicating with the juvenile through the tent. They would ask him a question, he'd click the answer. Either one click or silence, one for yes and silence for no. And they spent virtually all night communicating with him with this. Fascinating stuff. And these people, I've had people say, well, that's just people can say whatever they want. I don't trust anybody unless I see it myself. Well, let me tell you, I spent 9 years on a submarine. Okay. Well, 9 years in the Navy, 5 years on a submarine. I learned that you trust the people around you. If you can't trust them, they aren't there. Nobody's ever in my camp that I have to wonder whether they're telling me the truth.
Right.
If I can't go to the bank with their word, they just simply aren't there. Okay. So when these people sit down to tell me what happened, there's no doubt in my mind whether it's true or not. It's what happened. Now, did they interpret it 100% correctly? That is open for discussion. But that it happened is not open for discussion because these people don't do that. Okay. Generally, it's been my experience that those who question that are people who have no compulsion to stick to the truth themselves. And they justify that, well, everybody does it, so I do it too. And that's not true. Not everybody does not do that. I've been 62 years in this research. Okay. If I were ever to be found in any type of a hoax, it would destroy 62 years of work in a minute.
Oh yeah.
So how do you think I'm going to react to somebody saying, well, let's try faking this and see what happens? It ain't going to happen, Charlie.
Right.
It's just that simple. Look what they did to Paul Freeman on Good Morning America. Paul thought he had the answer that everybody was looking for. Paul, you've got to understand, was a very, very common man. Very, not the brightest tack in the box, certainly, but a good man, a very good person, a family man. He worked for the Forest Service. He was a writer in the Mill Creek watershed area just outside of Walla Walla, Washington. And that's where the city got its water, so they kept people out of that watershed, even to today. In 1994, he got that short film. Okay. He thought he just found the answer that people are wanted, the proof, It wasn't his first sighting. His first sighting had been in 1982 in the same general area, though not in the watershed. He took that film to the nearest ABC News TV affiliate, and that was KBTV in Kennewick, Washington, and that's where I saw it. It played on the news. And for a small miracle, they didn't try to make a joke out of it. They showed the film, explained what it was and how it came about. It was a news story. And they told it as a news story, the way the news is supposed to be reported, not editorialized. Right. Okay. It so happened that the news director of that station is a friend of mine. We went to church together. And I called him up. I says, Thom, his name is Thom Spencer. I says, Thom, I need to talk to that fellow on that film. He says, well, I can't give you his number. That wouldn't be right. I said, no, but you can give him mine and ask him to call me. He said, oh, yeah, I can do that. And the next day, Paul called. We got together. I drove out to Walla Walla. I lived about 40 miles from there. And we met several times over the next several months, or several years, actually, up until he passed away in 2003. But he just, in his own mind, he had the proof that people wanted to know that these things were real. And he was asked to be on Good Morning America on ABC. They asked him, one of the questions they asked him is, have you ever made fake feet? He said, oh, yes, I have. And I have too, for the same reason. He said, I've made them and then walked beside the trackway that I found to see how it varies, what my weight, what kind of a track I would leave or that size. When they played it back, have you ever made fake feet? Oh, yes, I have. And they cut it off there. Then made a big joke like he was hoaxing the whole thing.
Which is exactly what they do today still.
Absolutely. That was in August or September of 1994, and that was the last time I ever watched Good Morning America. And of course, since then, I've given up watching all news. I just network news. Actually, I haven't turned my TV on even in over 2 years now. It's just not worth it. I get plenty of entertainment from right here, from my computer, from YouTube, etc. And there's just no. Even still, you run into full-blown idiots. I played a video this week on my YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel is no big thing. I've got 380 subscribers, I think, and they're essays I've written that I put on video with photographs to illustrate and such. It's just to tell a story. And I did one on Jane Goodall and her science, Jane Goodall, Diane Fossey, and compared that to scientists of today. Jeff Miller, love the man dearly, but beyond feet and skeleton, he knows absolutely nothing about Sasquatch. He's never seen one. Okay. And even if you've seen one on a mountain as you're driving down the road, you know nothing about how they live. Okay, you might know they exist, but you don't know how they take a mate. You don't know how they raise their children. You don't know how they interact with their children. You don't know how widespread they keep the birth of their children. Not until you do the Diane Fossey, Jane Goodall type of investigations. And I've been so
That's right. You got to put yourself out there. You got to find out where they are, and you got to. It's one thing I learned out in Idaho is when they find you, you don't find them.
They're very curious. They're very curious, and if you sit down and wait, they'll come to you. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
And at any rate, this person had felt a need to make a comment on it as well. The difference is she proved what she did. You just sit there and tell lies.
Right.
You don't know me. I've never knowingly told a lie. I may have poked fun at people, but made jest. But that's not about my work. That again, one lie will ruin 62 years of work, and I'm not up for it. And but people have no respect for one another. There's no respect in this life. The last Sasquatch summit in Ocean Shores, Washington, after the summit was over, pardon me, I have an eye that's giving me fits. Every now and again, I can't touch the eye, so I just scratch my nose a lot. But after the conference, I walked up, shook hands with Jeff. I said, well, we've done it again. I said, disagreed with 60% of what one another say. You can walk up, shake hands, and go home friends. Because it's not wrong to disagree.
No, it's not.
Christy's cracking me up. It's not wrong to disagree. I've never learned anything from somebody that agreed with me totally. You learn things from people who have a different opinion and can make themselves understood. Okay. Then you can, if you have an open mind, if you don't accept it immediately, fine. You keep that cataloged, and when you have the opportunity to come upon it again, then you test that theory. You test that hypothesis. Did it have valid? Can it carry weight? Back in 2010, I was at the Oregon Sasquatch Symposium in Eugene, Oregon, Toby Johnson's gathering, and it was the first time that I knew such things ever existed as Sasquatch conventions. For the 52 years prior to that, I had worked on my own. I didn't know anybody else in the world was even investigating them. As a matter of fact, I could not even tell my family what I was doing because all they wanted to do was make jokes and laugh at it. And but I heard about that conference, and I drove down from where I lived in southeastern Washington to Eugene, Oregon, to attend it. And in that conference, Autumn Williams, if you remember Autumn, and her mother both spoke there. She had just published her book, my story, Enoch, and she did a presentation on that. Her mother, Sally Shepherd Wolford, had just published Valley of the Skookum and talked about that some. And in her presentation, she made a statement about watching a Sasquatch or watching tracks appear across an open field in the snow. She couldn't see anything making it, but the tracks were appearing. A trackway was being made in the snow. During the break, I probably had 24 people come up to me and ask, is that true? Does that happen? Can that happen? I said, I don't know, because it's never happened to me. It happened to Sally. She's the only one who could tell you right now if that happened. That was in June. The following, I believe it was the following spring. It was early spring, yeah. I had picked up Dr. Igor Burtsev at a gathering up in the Cascade Mountains, and I was escorting him for a couple of days. And when I got to Oregon, we went down to outside of Portland, quite a ways. I can't remember the name of the town. Pardon me for getting old. My short-term memory doesn't work well all the time. But we met a young fellow there, and he was going to escort Dr. Burtsev up into his area and show him some things. And I said, well, you guys go ahead. I'll just stay here. I put some apples on a rock next to my car, and I was going to sit back, and I'm just going to write. And I had my camera there to take pictures. Well, the first thing I did was fall sound asleep sitting in the car. When I woke up, I had put out 22 apples. There were 5 left on the rock. Okay. And I took out my camera. I was going to take pictures, and it wouldn't work. The batteries were dead. And there's a little swale there, a little lowland with berry bushes in it, salmonberry and gummy gooseberry. No leaves yet. It was before the leaves came on. But I'm watching in that mucky low area, and here's a set of tracks, actually 2 sets of tracks side by side, going across this thing. I could see them being made, and it's like two individuals were walking side by side through this area. I just said to myself, I'm sure glad I didn't say that was impossible. And of course, I took good pictures of the tracks after I changed the battery and after they were gone, and I could take pictures again. But so you always have to keep an open mind because you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
That's the secret. We don't know what we don't know. What's going to happen next? I wish I knew. I'd be ready for it. But you just be ready for what's going to happen. First thing you need to do.
One thing I've learned throughout my personal adventures is you never know from time to time going out there what they're going to do. Sometimes you're going to get absolutely nothing, and sometimes it's just going to be everything everywhere, and it's going to be very overwhelming. I mean, you never know. They keep you on your toes.
That they do, without a doubt. It's been my experience that if you're respectful and you're quiet, you'll see them. They'll come to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I learned that initially. That was probably the first thing I learned, was that you don't have to go looking for them. Just get in the right place and they'll come find you. They're curious.
That's right.
I want to know why you're there. As a forester, I did a lot of my work back in the early 70s in old growth forests. There hadn't been anybody there in 400 years. You know, this is old timber. And I'd have to hike in maybe 5 miles sometimes to do my work. Well, I'd sit down and do a drawing before I left to make sure I had all of my measurements. And it was while I was sitting there quietly doing my drawing that I started seeing them. You'd hear just a little whistle they do. And listen to Ron Moorhead's Sierra Sounds, track 7. It's on there. Just an up-down whistle. And basically what that means is he's with me. I've got my eye on him over here. And they're just talking to one another, telling one another what's going on. And I'd sit there and I'd hear that, and I'd look around, and pretty quick I'd see an eyeball peering around a tree at me. Yeah. And they didn't go anywhere. They just stood and watched me. And there was no fear. There's no reason for fear. They weren't doing anything to cause fear, and I wasn't doing anything to frighten them. And it's just, you have to learn to overcome that fear. Very, very important. Okay.
I'm nodding my head very, very large because I was told, and I quote, "Forget the fear, just go." And every time I go out, I tell that myself, forget the fear, just go. And now I get one area, I get one of them literally walking around. I can hear him walking around. I can hear him coming closer. Mm-hmm. And the first time I heard it, my heart started freaking pounding out of my chest. And I don't know if I should go back there. And you know what? All of a sudden it just went away and it said, that's what I expect you to do. That's where you put my treats. And I went back there and I did it. And now, I mean, for weeks now, I go out in the field and I just sit there and he comes, you can hear him in the bush. He comes right up and he just watches me. Yeah. But it's getting over the fear of, okay, there's an 8-foot, 600 to 800 pound thing 25, 30 feet away from me. It's not supposed to exist, but I can hear it walking around back there. You know, once you get up, but now it's just like, I wonder if he's going to come out and walk around for me today, you know? But it's getting over the fear is the hardest part, for sure.
That's right.
But I think getting over that fear means a lot to them.
Mm-hmm. It does.
The fear.
Go ahead, Ann.
The fear in us, it drives us. But to know the feelings of walking into the woods and they put out these vibes that say, hey, okay, we're okay with you being here. You know, we all have that fear in us, you know, because we don't know what's out there. We always expect the unexpected, you know? And like Kevin said, no, go ahead.
There are times you're going to get in a spot where they don't want you for one reason or another, usually because there's a young child there or something that you know, or something they're doing.
Yes.
Listen to them. Pay attention to what they're doing. They'll tell you whether you're welcome there or not. And if you aren't, just leave.
Yes.
Come back another time. There's no big deal.
You say that?
And, yeah.
You know, that's one thing. I have my area, and they have their area. Their area is on one side of the bushes, and my area is on the other side of the bushes. Daytime is my time, and nighttime is their time. And they get it, I get it, and we all respect that. And I've been getting a lot of comments on my channel, oh, you should put a camera out there and this, that, and the other. And it's like, no. Because
why?
I personally feel they trust me And putting a camera out there would be a betrayal of that trust. That's why I don't put a camera out there.
I tell
Respect.
people a game camera is probably the best Bigfoot repellent that's ever been invented.
I've told that to everybody else too for years. You want to get rid of a Bigfoot, put cameras up around your house. Our best weapon is a camera, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're safer in a tent.
Read Thom Pell's work when he was doing an investigation with a couple, Alan and April, near Alaska. They were trying to trick them with placing hiding cameras. Yeah, and they come right out and told them, you know, why do you try to trick us with your cameras? Read Thom Pell's blogs. The coconut or the Coconut Telegraph. That's it. It's one of his best ones. He gets into the mind speak and leaving a bone for them to
find. You can't trick them. I've tried to do it and it didn't work.
No,
it doesn't work. I've said it for a long time. You can't trick a Bigfoot.
Look what happened to Richard Knoll with the Cookham cast when they tried to. They raked the ground smooth to try to force them to leave tracks and smooth open ground. What they do, they laid down, reached across, and grabbed the apple. Yep. If anybody has any questions, I have no problem with fielding questions as we're going here. So
absolutely. So anybody out there in the chat got any questions for Thom? Just go ahead and put them in capital letters,
and we'll
put them up on the screen. So
I do have something. Hopefully next year, like when they have the conventions, I would like to go on several expeditions with several different people. And if you do one, I'd love to go with you.
Well, if I don't do one, you can go as my guest with Barb and Gabby. Barb and Goldie now, but and they're the best. I mean, their forensics is the best.
Okay.
And you know, right now, whether I'm going to be here next year or not, still up in the air.
But, you're going to be here. You're tough as nails. Don't say that. I'm praying for you.
You're tough as a goat, man.
You're tough as nails. I need to get out in the woods with you. Yes.
Well, you'd be more than welcome at any spots, I guarantee you. First of all, I don't ever have any trouble with telling people where I go, because it makes no difference. If they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen. I don't care who's there. Yeah. 2012, I hosted a conference in Tri-Cities, Washington, down in the desert, and Friday evening was going to be meet and greet, but Friday during the day, I just put together a trip to the Blue Mountains, just a day trip. You know, I thought there'd be probably 30 people that would want to go. There were 33 carloads of people that went.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It looked like a caravan going across the desert out to the mountains there, and it was fun. We got out there, and my teacher, he says, "My people are having a great time watching your people." And they found tracks. They found, other clues. Nobody had a sighting, but they were being watched the whole time. Okay. There was, like I said, 120, 130 people that made that trek. And they got done. They went home. No harm was done. The Sasquatch went on living their lives. And, it was... And I had them right on the rim, right on the road next to the boundary into that watershed where Paul Freeman worked. They were right on the rim of it. Okay, so they were as close to them as you can possibly get. Some of them even went with me to the spot where I met my my own teacher. Oh, yes. Have I ever walked in the wild outdoors in the same small area one day, and the next day it looked totally different? So much so that I thought I was in a different state. It was, yes, uh, it was like the difference between winter and summer. Just totally looked different. Uh, coming at it and I'm a trained forester. Okay, I hold a degree in logging engineering.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
so I'm
trained not
used
to
to
get
being
lost out there.
right. And but first thing you learn about being trained not to get lost, you carry your compass at all times. Okay?
Oh yeah, I actually carry one in my backpack.
Because these things happen to you. Yeah, these things happen to you. You can look. One thing you always do when you go in on a trail is you stop and you turn around and look at it from the other direction.
Right.
Because when you come out on that trail, it's not going to look anything the same. It's going to be totally different. I remember one day we were hiking in. There's a big burnt snag there. And we passed that burnt snag, climbed the hill, got turned around in the brush at the top of the hill, came right back down that same hill, right past that same snag. And my partner, we were timber cruising that day, if I remember right. He says, "Oh, look," he says, "there's another snag, just like the first one we saw." I said, "No, that's another snag is the first one we saw." I realized what had happened. But yeah, we'd turned totally around. Have I ever experienced time loss? One time. That was in August of 2015. I was fortunate enough to watch the birth of twins, be witness of the birth of twins on January 15th of 2015. And they were 8 months old when I went back to Canada. And I was up there with my partner, Brian, and he had to he had gone to work. He'd worked all night. That's what it was. And he got home at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he says, "Take the car and go back into our area." He says, and he's then come back and says, "I'll be ready to get up about noon, 1 o'clock." And I was okay. So I went out there and I got to see the twins when they were 8 months old. And I had parked the car, walked into the timber, and this is an absolutely gorgeous area. I wish I could take everybody to this spot. It's absolutely wonderful spot. And I wrote about it in this book too. There's a couple of occurrences in that very area. But I thought I was gone about 20 to 25 minutes. I had got back to the car and 3.5 hours had passed. And I mean, I could see the car from where I was in the woods. That's how far away from it. So yeah, that's the one time I've experienced time loss. And quite often it's the other way around. I think all this time has passed, and no time has passed. That the council session I had in the Blue Mountains with 5 Sasquatch, where we were talking in their language. I thought that I had gone on for hours, and it was only a few minutes, maybe an hour. And it felt like, of course, when you're standing there speaking a language and speaking and conversing in a language you have no idea about, that's a bit disconcerting. That's a little hard. And I walked back. The people in camp could see me, and they could hear the Sasquatch on the hill. They couldn't see them, but they could see me and hear me, and they could hear them. And when I walked back into camp, one of them asked me a question, and I answered it in that same language. That's what I've been speaking for that hour. And her name is Sue Funkhauser. If you want to look her up, she's on Facebook, and just let her tell you what it sounded like and what it was. Have I experienced infrasound, and did you have long-term effects? First of all, I have to be proven that it's infrasound. The term infrasound has been coined as a catch-all phrase, but I've never seen proof of it. If you want proof of infrasound, you're going to have to show me a spectral analysis that shows frequencies below 20 hertz. I almost said cycles and told how old I was. But infrasound, by definition, is below our level of hearing. Now, to answer the spirit of the question, have I ever experienced that type of phenomenon? Yes, I have. The effects were not long lasting, but yes, I have been disoriented, and I have had things like that happen. Some people, I try to tell people that's why I'm forgetful now. It's because of being affected by these effects. But basically, it's more old age than anything. Okay, but like I say, infrasound is a phenomenon, but it is below at sound level below 20 cycles. How tall were the young ones? I assume you mean the twins, or at 8 months old. When they were born, they were probably 28 inches or so, maybe 30 inches long, and may have weighed 21 pounds. Okay, both of them. At 8 months old, they were a good 2.5 to 3 feet tall. Very, very robust, and just cuter buttons, little fur balls. Just absolutely wonderful. Names are Aranaya and Ananaya, one male and one female, and they were born to Rajase, the daughter of the clan leader in that particular area in British Columbia, where we did our 5-year study on glyphs and structures. Okay, that's how we got to know them so well. As a matter of fact, there's a story in this book of meeting her when she made it known she wanted to speak to me alone, away from everybody else, and everything I had to go through to get alone, because the group we were with, they weren't about to let me alone. we got to take care of Thom. And but I finally convinced him, and we had the meeting. But yeah, that's a fantastic area. If you ever get a chance to go to British Columbia to do research, do it, because the population is very high. And that area where we are there, when you drive to the end of the road, it's about 120 miles to the next road. Okay. And you got huge areas that are not populated at all. And it's wonderful, wonderful feelings. There's another little story. Rajase, when she figured out it was time to take a mate, went to Oklahoma to meet her mate. This is something they do regularly, to preclude the chance of inbreeding. It spreads the gene pool because their population is so low. They do this to spread the gene pool as much as possible. So she went to Oklahoma. She met her mate there, and then, as is also custom, unless he's needed in the clan there, he will come back with her to her home clan to live. And his name is Fortune. He's a very tall fellow, even as a teenager, young adult. He was very tall for his age. He was over 10 feet tall at that 18 years old. And his father is my friend Arla Williams, saw him 2 or 3 years prior, and he's over 15 feet tall. He's a huge guy. She said it's the largest one she's ever seen. And she's practically grown up with them on her place there. But yeah, so that's one of those facts that I'm talking about. You don't learn by seeing one across the road in front of your car. You have to habituate them. You have to spend time with them.
Well, I think they have to get to know you. You know.
They do, but it's not going to happen until they know you, until they can trust you.
Right. I mean, it's just like making friends. Yeah, sure, you hit it off the first time, but you still don't really know each other until you spend time with each other. It's the same thing.
It was from 1958 until 2010 before I was trusted with a teacher. Yeah, that's a long time.
It is.
That's 52 years. Okay. And during that length of time, did I ever run across a Wendigo or a group of them? No, I never have. And I don't even really know what they are. They're something outside of my area of expertise entirely. I know that they're mentioned in the lore of the Upper Great Lakes area east, Algonquin, Seneca areas. That's where they show up in the Indian lore. But no, I have never had any experience, nor have I with Dogman. I don't know anything about them other than to know from people who I trust that they do exist, but I know nothing about them. Okay.
No. Let's see. Here you go. Here's another one for you, Thom.
Mm-hmm. Population in the U.S. Okay, I can guesstimate that. In Washington, I have a fairly good handle on the state of Washington. There are 20 to 22 clans in the state of Washington. Each clan has from 13 to 18 members, and that's from 1 to 3 family groups in a clan. Okay, that puts about 300 in the entire state of Washington in 71,000 square miles. Okay. By using that and knowing where the population centers that I know of in the U.S., and that isn't all of them by any means, but Georgia has a great population. Oklahoma has a population. East Texas especially has a large population. Ohio has population spots. New England has populations. I know North Carolina does. My guesstimate, and it's a wide guesstimate, is somewhere between 12 and 20,000 individuals for North America. And that includes Canada as well, and Alaska, because I can show you Indian lore, even from the Athabascan and Inuit people of the Sasquatch people. And that's far, far north. I hope that answers your question.
So do you think that they, most people are on different levels about different aspects of Sasquatch, like blood, skin, flesh and blood. Then you got the level of mind speak. Then you got the level of portals. Do you think that the Sasquatch use portals to travel from place to place?
I'm so new into that. There again, we're asking about something that I don't have experience with, other than the fact that a year ago in camp with Barb and Gabby group, I was taught something about portals, enough to know that they exist and enough to know that we can go back and forth between them. Okay. Unfortunately, I've been too ill to pursue that. It's a subject I really want to pursue. I know Barb actually had a portal open inside her tent. She's in her tent reading, and all of a sudden this portal opens and she's looking in somebody's living room somewhere. There's a fire burning in the fireplace, and there's people that you can hear in the background. So, do they travel by portal? I'm quite sure they do. How they do it, I have no idea. How portals work, I really have no idea. What their gates between, I don't know. But it's going to be fascinating to find out. I hope I have enough time.
This is my friend. She lives 45 minutes from me.
Okay. Do I know about the population in Louisiana? Yes, they speak funny. I've been listening to it this evening. No, I really don't. Not specifically. I think there's so much of Louisiana that is virtually inaccessible most of the time that they can move back and forth so readily. And would be hard to pin down where their clan centers are. That would be a study for somebody that's in Louisiana, I think. Okay.
No, I think Christy and Sharon just got donated to do that for the state of Louisiana. So I think you two are gonna have to get together and go do work.
Yeah, and there's other people there that I can introduce you to that would be very helpful too.
Please, that would be wonderful. Yeah, I want to get back in the woods and just go. I am not scared. I want to put my boots back on the ground because I've done it, almost 2 years with my other partners that they kind of like disappeared, So I'd really like to get with somebody and do that.
I would not be surprised if your population didn't exceed 200 individuals.
I think there would be a lot of them. Now, one place I will not go. One place I would. One place I will not go into is the Honey Island swamps. That has got a feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
That is not a Sasquatch. It's not a Sasquatch.
No, it isn't.
No.
It isn't.
No.
Dana is a friend of mine, and I've talked with her about it. And no, that's not a Sasquatch.
No.
That's something else.
Yes, that is something else. This is Duke, World Bigfoot Radio. He's got experience just like you. Each people are different, and
I don't. The question, he said he estimates a couple of thousand of them in Mississippi. It's a very easy thing to do to overestimate until you can figure out where the clans are centered and know how many is average per clan. Then you can do some extrapolation. But if you just try to go on sightings of individuals, they'll drive you nutsoid.
You couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You got
if you mean cryptoid beings, no, not really. Not even with UFOs, other than the fact I've seen them. There may be one instance, and it's in my book Sasquatch from Myth to Mystery. I talk about what may have been an intervention from aliens, but no, my work has been with Sasquatch, and that's what I've been called to do. When my teacher first contacted me back in September 25th, 2010, I was told your job is as our scribe. You were to write our story. And prior to that time, I had written one book. Since that time, I've written 11 more on the subject, including 3 in the last year. Okay. I thought Sasquatch from Myth to Mystery was going to be my last book. I had not taken into account my teacher's opinion. And when he got done with the buttectomy, I've written 2 more, and I have another one in mind now that I want to do. Actually, I have 2 more in mind I want to do. But,
well, I need to start collecting them so I can have a collection of your books. I'm gonna start.
You've got McBray. Then
Yes.
you meet Ian Angus Alistair McBray from the Isle of Skye in Scotland. They're the only people who talk funnier than people from Louisiana do.
I know what you mean, Chef. That's the Cajun people. Right over there.
Yeah. They have a. Oh yeah, but they're fun to listen to.
They're good people.
I have a Scottish friend who lives in Germany now. As a matter of fact, her boyfriend is a lead singer on a very famous German band who's gotten to be a very good friend of mine too. A fellow by the name of Till Lindemann with the band Rammstein. And but I sent her a link to Swamp People one time, and she listened to that. And she came back. She says, "Does that come with consecutive translation?"
Oh, that's like what's his name? What's his name? He goes, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him.
Yeah, there's no S in there. It's a C. It's
yeah, shoot him,
shoot him,
shoot him. And we say down here, we say like with the Saints football players, we say who dat, not that, who dat.
Who dat? Yeah.
Here in LA, would you say put a cap in his ass? So,
wait.
Again, there's that whole different dialect.
Like who that? Who there?
Yeah. Last time I was in LA, I drove till 2:00 in the morning to get out of there before
Oh, I'm sorry, you had to do that. That's not a good time to be driving around LA, I'll tell you that.
I know that's right. Never been to LA, but I've been to Anaheim.
That's LA.
Yeah.
It's LA County. It's just pretty almost everything just above San Diego County and everything above that is pretty much considered LA County or whatever, Orange County and then LA County. It's just it's just all run together.
Well, I tell you, if you travel from state to state,
in 1961, I lived in San Diego for a while. Are you back?
Huh? Why? I was buffering or something?
Yeah. At least on mine, we were buffering. I don't know. Maybe it's just my iPad that I'm on.
Oh, maybe so.
I lived in San Diego in 1961, and you drive from there to LA, and most of the time you were in the country, and you drive, in through towns. But last time I was there, it was solid the whole way. Really weird.
Yep, until you start getting up to about San Francisco. It's pretty much solid the whole way. So I grew up just 50 miles north of San Francisco. Went to high school in a little town called Sonoma. And, I left there in 1961 when I joined the Navy, and I've never really looked back.
Really? How long were you in the Navy for?
Navy. 9 years.
9 years?
70.
Really? My dad was in the Navy. He was in it from, I believe, because my mom and dad moved up to San Diego and stayed out there for 2 years, from 63 to 67, I think it was. My dad was on the USS Paul Revere.
My grandfather was a gunner on a naval battleship through both world wars.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yep. Yeah. How do I know the lifespan? If they're not disturbed, normal lifespan of an individual is about 100 years. they have a regeneration system that they use, and as Christy said, they can be 1,000 years old if they've been regenerated. They've gone through. I found the symbol of this one time, and I don't want to go into it here because it's not anything that I'm allowed to speak of openly often. But it was so beautiful, such a beautiful thing. I still have the width that tied that together. That's on my bookcase that you see behind me over here. That bookcase that's sitting on there. But yeah, about 100 years if nothing is disturbed, and then they're allowed to live their normal life. Which brings up the point of why you don't find a body. State of Washington, population of 300 individuals. They live 100 years. That means in any given year, you're going to have an average of 3 deaths in 71,000 square miles. What are your odds of finding the body?
Right.
If they did not bury their dead, which they do. Okay. I have some beautiful pictures of graves. And I guarantee you aren't finding anything buried there.
Nope.
Just because of the way they're constructed. You're not going to trip over it and find it. So, yeah, it's that's why you don't have bodies.
I was
How many people do
under
you know
the
have ever
impression
found a bear's body?
I was under the impression that they bury their dead and then plant a tree over it.
They do.
They do.
And generally rocks of some kind as well.
You're right, like the Indians would do.
Yeah, I've got some beautiful pictures, and sometimes they do that, and it's just an altar, just a place of worship for them, for their rituals. So you don't know whether it's a grave or, and they may be buried 2 feet deep, or they may be buried 20 feet deep under all of this. So it's very interesting.
It is very interesting, especially when you're talking to a gentleman such as yourself who's been doing this so long. It's it is interesting. I mean, you've been doing this for so long. I've been doing it for, I think, 12 years now. Christy's been doing it for a couple of years.
2 years.
Even though we have different time spans of doing this, we all have similar instances throughout all of it, and we're all in different areas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
So what you was about to say, Thom, about Christmas?
That's it. Since 2020 has been such a messed up year for everybody, I wanted to do something special for Christmas this year. So what I've done is I've taken my books and I've made bundles. I have four different bundles, and I put a special price on them and sending them free shipping for Christmas. Okay, I've got any 3 bundle. Take any three books that I've written. I'll put them together in a package and sign them for you and ship them out. And
that's awesome.
My my nonfiction books are in a bundle, and then my Sasquatch story books are in a bundle. And then the newest one, the cover of this book was done for me by an artist by the name of Michael Beers. And I don't know if you can see that much from the angle that we're looking at here with the glare and everything, but he just did a beautiful job. As you can see, it goes around and extends onto the back of the book as well. And I have the original, prints off the original of that in a 1 foot by 3 foot format, and you can frame them and hang them. I have one, and I bundled that with a book as a bundle. And so yeah, there's 4 different bundles there. And
what is the website?
website?
What is the website, Thom? I'll put it in.
It's really tough to remember. It's www.thomcantrall.com.
I don't know if I'll remember that, Thom.
I don't think we will remember that, but I'm still going to put it into the thing.
Yeah.
That's just too many letters, man.
I started out with my name of my first book, Ghosts of Ruby Ridge, which worked pretty well when I had one book. By the time I got to number 7 or 8, it was getting a little unwieldy. and by 10 or 12, it's even worse. So I decided it was time to redo it and change it over. So I just put my name down, and now I can put whatever I want to up there. I have not only the books for sale and these bundles, but I also have essays up there, both written and in video form that you can access from there. And of course, there's no charge on any of that. That's just something to do, just something to read. And I'm going to do more of that this winter. If I can get over this problem with the eye I'm having right now, I'll be back to work at it again. I'm in a situation. I live in what they call assisted living. I have my own apartment, but as you heard a bit ago, they come and go as need be. And right now they've got me on a regimen with eye drops every 2 hours. So they just pop in to give them to me, even though I told them I was going to be doing this. And
your health is more important, Thom.
Yes, your health is important.
We'll take care of it. But I've spent a week trying to get this eye taken care of, and I couldn't get anybody to do anything. I asked one of the med techs, for some saline solution, just salt water, to rinse it out. I can't do that. I don't have an order to do that. I said, you need an order for water? Well, I can't do that. And nobody would do anything. And so finally, I went online, found out what the formula is for normal saline. It's a teaspoon of salt to a pint of water, and made my own. They got awfully upset at me for doing that. But then they get upset at me for doing a lot of things I do. I don't fit the mold very well. And so I finally, yesterday, got some med tech and an aide on who got off their tail and worked their butt off and ended up finally getting me to a doctor where it could be treated and taken care of. And yeah, it's nothing major. It's an abrasion on the lens, but it just hurts like fire. And
it hurts.
Pretty miserable to deal with. You can't sleep at night because it hurts, and so I tend to sleep a lot during the day. At least that's the excuse I use. But the main thing is to get back to writing. I want to do a book on different research groups across the country now. What they do, how they do it, what their philosophy is, what they're looking for, what their goals are, type thing. I think that would be interesting, don't you?
Yes,
that would definitely be awesome to see the differences of everybody and how they approach everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I prefer to go out alone. So,
yeah.
Unarmed, out alone, I know they're not going to hurt me. They want to keep getting their goodies. So it's like, as long as I just keep showing this.
When I was your age, I can't do that anymore. Do I know their origins? No, I do not. And I specifically asked. My teacher said, we come from the place of 2 moons. Now, before you think that's a planet like Mars that has Deimos and Phobos, There's a little place up in the North Cascades here where there's a peak. And when the moon sets at a particular time of the year, it goes behind that peak. Okay, then comes out again. And the Indians call that the place of two moons. So is that what he's talking about? Or is he talking about Deimos and Phobos? So, yeah, I know they come from the place of two moons. What that is, I have no idea. And that's not for you to know at this time. I get a lot of that.
Which is why they left it so. It's exactly why they left it so broadly based. You know, I mean, you probably find many folklore throughout the world that has something to do with the place of two moons. So, you know, it's just like this will keep them guessing for a long time.
Yeah. I do know they predate us here on Earth by about 20 millennia.
Oh, yeah.
We've been here about 35 millennia, and they've been 50 to 55 millennia, somewhere in that range.
I absolutely agree with that. They're definitely they're an ancient people.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah. You know, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. So
I tell people that I believe they're more intelligent than we are, and the first thing they ask is, "Well, how can you tell that?" I said, number one, they don't want to have anything to do with us. That shows their intelligence right there. I mean,
that's right.
Especially if you watch TV in the last 4 months.
I mean, look at the history of us humans. Look at the history of us. What have we done? We've done civil war. We've killed each other. We've killed Indians. You know, World War I, World War II. They sat back in the bushes and watched all of this. Well, yeah, if I was back there with them, I'd stay away from me too. You know? So
exactly.
You lead by example. Not lead a good example.
One of the first things I learned from my teacher that I asked him, well, what is the thing that we need to know? He says, mankind for the first time in their history has the ability to destroy the world without firing a shot.
That's right.
We are destroying the capital predator in the ocean.
Yep.
The tallest one I've experienced myself is about 11 and a half to 12 feet. That was a question that was asked.
That was Thom Paul.
I know people who have experienced, I know people who have experienced taller ones, but that's the tallest I've ever seen. The area in British Columbia, our research area, the area next to it actually is in the same clan area, but it's an area that we didn't get too much. There are some 12 to 13, 14 footers in there. One big red one that I know of, my partner has seen. And that I would love to see them that size, but believe me, 10, 11 feet is, I gotta tell you a little story about that. When I lived in Kennewick, my son was went to high school there, stepson, and had a young man transfer from San Diego area his senior year, played basketball at our high school. And a young man by the name of Scott Pollard. Scott finished out the year there, then went on to University of Kansas, spent 4 years there, then went into the pros for several years. But Scott was 7 foot tall. One evening after a game, I was standing just talking to Scott, and his brother came up. His brother played. We had a CBA team in Tri-Cities, and his brother played for the CBA team. And while we're standing there talking, his brother is 6'11". While we're standing there talking, one of the coaches from that CBA team come up and joined us. He's 7'2".
Ooh.
Okay, I'm 6'4", so I'm not short. But I'm sitting there with 3 people 7 foot and taller. It was intimidating. It was a different feeling.
Wow.
I actually had to curtail the conversation because I had never been with 2 people taller than I was at the same time, let alone 3. And standing in the middle of this circle, it was strange.
Wow.
Strange. And
I feel short.
One lady I know. Pardon me?
I said I feel short compared to y'all.
One lady I know that's taller than I am.
What?
She's an author and a Bigfoot researcher. Her name is Becky Cook. She lives in Idaho. Dear friend of mine. And Becky is 6 foot 6 inches tall.
Ooh.
She's one of the tallest 100 women in the United States, in the top 200 in the world. And that's somebody you might want to write for a guest on your show because she is very learned. She's written 2 books on Sasquatch in Idaho. Very, very quality individual.
Okay, yeah, we have to check into her.
Tell you a little story that happened when I was back there. She hosted a conference in Pocatello, Idaho, and she lives near there up in the mountains. And in the 4 days we were there, 5 days, let's see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think we flew home Tuesday. At any rate, we did 4 different gatherings in that period of time. One for the tribe on the Fort Hall Reservation. And during one day, we went up to an area of hers that she researches. And it's an area, it's rangeland. And these are half wild cattle. I mean, they're turned out to range, and they're not dealt with until it's time to come in the wintertime. So you would not want to be in that pasture unless you're on horseback or on a 4-wheeler, because they take you. They're half wild, like I said. Well, Arla was with us, Arla Williams, and she started out with a crow call, just cawing, and then she morphed it into a Sasquatch call. When she morphed into that Sasquatch call, all of the cows in that area ran together in a phalanx, just like you've seen busk oxen do, in a circle with the calves in the center and them pointed outward. And then here come the bull, as hard as he could run, up the bank to join them. Now, you tell me they hadn't heard that call before. I mean, they knew exactly what they were dealing with.
I've heard several stories of Sasquatch coming around farms that have cattle, and the cattle all huddle up in the corner the furthest away from wherever it is and do that same thing. They put all the calves and stuff in the center, and then they all fan out, like they're all just in a big circle watching, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I've heard several stories like that.
I've worked with cattle all my life. I grew up on a ranch, and I'd never seen them do like they did that quickly. I mean, they charged together, and sitting there with a camera hanging around my neck, and never thought to take a single picture. Just so in awe of what I was watching. But we had been watching 2 Sasquatch up on the mountainside from where we were, and that's why she did the call. And,
did she do a whoop?
No, it was a scream.
It was a scream?
It was a full scream.
Here's a good question for you. Have you experienced in different areas, like where my research area was, they did one whoop. Whoop! Went to Mississippi, we heard a double whoop. Woo whoop! So, have you experienced anything like that?
I've heard both.
You heard
I've heard both, yeah. And it's just what that particular clan, what it means to that particular clan. And maybe just to differentiate between the clans.
Right.
It's not far from parts of Louisiana to parts of Mississippi. you know,
Yes.
stone
Yes.
throw,
Yes.
you know. So,
Yes.
And they're back and forth very easily. So that may be part of, you know, differentiating one clan from the other.
Right. Right.
Have
Like
I
most.
experienced orbs or strange lights in the forest? Oh, I ever. Yes. Yes. And that's a whole different story. But I've got a picture that I took, and we were in camp, and it was a Barb and Goldie camp, and we're playing drums and nighttime, and Samantha Ritchie was playing her drum, and I had it on video, and then she put on an Indian mask. You would not believe the number of orbs that showed up when she did that.
Wow.
It was unreal. And that's the only thing that changed. The camera was sitting there. I was sitting holding the camera. It was playing, and she just put on that mask, and the orbs just materialized. It was unreal.
So you think the orbs have a connection with the
Sasquatch? How they did it, I don't know. I think they do. I don't think they're limited to Sasquatch. I think they have other rationale as well. But I do think that they are associated with Sasquatch as well. So there is no fighting in their society. Okay, that's the question. Are the clans mostly friendly, or do they fight? There is no such thing. This is one thing I want to make perfectly clear. Again, back to the why don't they want anything to do with us? Number one, they are not territorial. They do not defend a territory. Yes, they will live in a particular area, but they are not at all territorial. I've got to change. Let's see, what am I? I'm low battery learner.
Go plug yourself in.
But they're not territorial. They don't defend a territory. They mate monogamously, and they mate for life. Okay, they understand spirituality. They're not religious, but they are spiritual. Okay, now, if you took those factors out of our history, how many wars have you just avoided?
Many.
Almost all of them. Their leadership is not like we vote for a leader. The leader is the clan leader is the clan leader just by the virtue of everybody likes him. But he doesn't rule with an iron fist. Okay. People anthropomorphize. They put our thoughts on Sasquatch, and that's not the truth. One thing that comes to mind instantly is the X glyph. Okay. You ask 100 people what that means. It means keep out, stay away. No. It is a friendship welcome sign. If you see that, it's a sign of friendship. It's a sign of welcome. There's a grunt they make. It starts out low. It's kind of a. Well, if you can imagine that coming out of subtle lungs like this, through a throat like that, across 3 sets of vocal cords, it's going to be a bit noisy when it comes out. Okay. People are scared to death of it. It's a greeting grunt. It's, hey, hi, how are you? I'm over here. Okay. Don't be afraid. Put that fear away. 2014, we're in camp in Northern California. This story's been told many, many times. Kathy Blood, walking back to her tent, walks up on at 10 feet range. he froze her in place, absolutely froze her in place. What some people call infrasound. Well, I don't know whether it's infrasound or just a nerve block, but she was frozen in place. And she called him, and I'm just getting into my bunk. Thom, come help me. So I put my pants back on, put my clothes back on, go out. And here she is bent over, locked in place. And I looked up, and he'd moved back from her tent around this little cedar tree, and he was standing by that. And I said, "Oh, hello, big guy. How are you tonight?" And just a greeting, right? And I said, "That's okay. I've got her." That locking her up like that, that's a safety thing. Middle of the night, out in the woods like that, if she'd gone running off, she'd run off a bank somewhere and killed herself. That way, she couldn't move till he was gone, out of sight. Then released her, and I told her, "I'd just grab your gag and throw it in my tent and you sleep there tonight." And so that's what she did. But that's an example of just to the point. There is no fear. There's no reason for fear. Yeah, I know people, especially in southeastern part of the country, that live a different lifestyle. I mean, you go to the zoo there, and there's a sign on the animal's cage with its scientific name, its common name, and the recipe. Okay, you don't see that in other parts of the country. So yeah, you have a different mindset there, a different thought pattern, basically. But get those people who have been dealing with them there, and they'll tell you exactly the same thing. There's nothing to fear if you remain respectful. Okay. That makes
I think a lot of the fear is just that it, like you said, it's that nerve block. I think they can trigger something inside us that creates that nerve block, and we freeze up, but I mean, human logic suggests that it was just that nerve block. There was no outside influence in giving you that nerve block.
Right.
And that is,
in this book. In this book, there are several instances of people talking about how afraid they were, how the fear level of being absolutely petrified, not being able to move, they were so afraid, and nothing's happening. They're not, the Sasquatch is not doing anything. He's just standing by a bush watching them. So all that fear comes from within. And we have to learn to control that, and we can learn to control it, but it takes active work to do that. Okay?
It takes a lot of active work to do that. First, you got to recognize the fear, and you've got to figure out your way of dealing with it to keep you from getting past that level. You know what I mean? You got to learn to dial it back. And that's the hardest thing in this research or in this topic when being out there on a regular basis, when they're around and you willingly go to a spot where there are some. That is absolutely the hardest part. And I've said that for many, many years. The hardest part is getting past your own fears and your own blocks, and everyone's different. Everyone deals with it differently. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, and you have to realize that we're not the be-all and end-all of life on Earth, okay? There's things out there that make us look small. And, we're pretty much the top of the food chain until you meet a grizzly bear, okay? And we're pretty much the meanest, baddest, biggest thing out in the jungle until you meet an elephant, okay? There's things that can do us in really quickly. So you have to be respectful, but you don't have to fear. Matter of fact, fear will get you in more trouble than it'll get you out of. And, you know, I wish I could take everybody out and show them how these beings live, show them their family groups, you know, and how important family is to them. The fact that they do mate for life. So they're so dedicated to their mating that if they're, say, 35, 40 years old, past the child rearing or, you know, young child rearing age, that if they lose a spouse and there's
I think Thom froze.
I think Thom froze up for a second.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what is he trying to do? Come on to another. Hold on. There he is again.
You got. Whoa. we doubled the Thoms.
There's people that say that one of me was.
Wait, how do I get that off?
How funny.
I don't know how that happened.
You know, we were able to do that. How cool. There we go.
There it goes. Oh, wait, here, you got another question, Thom.
How do they get along with a grizzly? That's the sight to behold. They normally don't. They will avoid grizzlies. Black bear avoid them. Okay, you can pretty much assume that if you see a black bear, there aren't Sasquatch in that immediate area because black bear just won't go around them. Grizzly doesn't have sense enough to realize that. Doesn't have sense enough to realize the danger they're in. I have heard of, been told of fights where they have killed grizzlies. Okay, I have not witnessed that myself, but I do know. Well, I'll walk up to a black bear. I've done it within 20, 30 feet of them. That's not a problem. A single grizzly will turn a simple stroll to the outhouse into the adventure of a lifetime instantaneously.
Oh, yes, it will.
They are dangerous because they are totally unpredictable in what they will do. Black bears
they know they're big, they know they're powerful, and they know they can really screw everything up. I mean,
yeah, they're the top of the food chain. Nothing challenges them. And so in a fight, one-on-one fight between a grizzly bear and a Sasquatch, the Sasquatch will come out because he's more intelligent. He'll beat him with intelligence. But it's not something they want to do because it's something where they could get hurt themselves very badly in the process. The old story, you know, you may get a beefsteak, but I'm going to get a sandwich in the meantime. You know, that's kind of always my theory of fighting. You know, but yeah. So when grizz are in the area, I'm extra cautious. That's part of why the major fight we had in this state against reintroducing them into the areas, the Cascade Mountains, where people are so prevalent. That was just asking for tragedy. You know, they're fine in the areas that are uninhabited or lightly inhabited. People who go into those areas understand.
Oh, looks like we lost him again, and we are missing that one too. So I guess right now it is the SoCal Forest Ninja Show, brought to you by the Bigfoot Research Evidence Podcast. Hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Glad you all can join us on this wonderful podcast. And let's see who we got in the chat. We got the Purple Hobbit, Rick. How you doing, buddy? We have Aaron Heisner. How you doing? Bomber, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Glad you're here, man. So I have no control over this computer thing. It's all Christie's thing, and there she is. And so interesting. Go check out Thom's books. He's what do you say, 11 or 12 books out now. So go check out Thom's books.
What happened? He left?
It just
Dropped
blanked
off
out. I think his battery might be dead or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
You know, I mean,
Wait, he might come back on. Let's see.
we're at an hour and 40 minutes. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's probably got medication to take, and
Yeah, probably so.
you know, so
before we go, what I'm gonna do is give his website again, ThomCantrall.com. And also, like I said, I'm starting a list. I got a lot of people's names here that I've been writing down that have been coming in the chat room. And I had said it in the beginning, but there's some people that missed it. Next month for Christmas, I will be getting some of these. There's another one too that I'm gonna order too. So I'll probably do about maybe 3 giveaways. With the gift card for Christmas, I'm gonna take the people's names and I'm gonna tear them up and then put them in a thing, shake it up, and pull person's name. And I said I was gonna get some gift cards to go with the little Sasquatch, which I think he's cute. You know, he's cute for a little kid or for anybody.
You know what? Hey, for anybody, I've got 3 of those on my bed.
Oh, I love these
3
things.
different kinds.
I love him. His name is Douglas. I got my mom one, and I got maybe another one coming for somebody else. But anyway, like I said, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do I might do 4 giveaways because I can get 2 of these and 2 of the other ones. But I can ask people what type of gift cards you think would be good. Like I said, Home Depot, Walmart, Home Depot,
maybe a sports place like Cabela's. You know, I mean, you know, let us know what you think would be the most helpful in the way of gift card. You know,
what do you think gift card wise? You know, so
it will take. What are you gonna do? 3 different gift cards, or are you gonna do?
I'm gonna attach it. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in a box, and whoever I put their name, I'm gonna have to get their address so I can send it to them. I'm gonna have the gift card attached to it. You know, that'll be like appreciating people coming on and listening to the shows and being there. You know, because we do appreciate everybody who's watching.
Absolutely.
You know, it's time consuming. Some people listen to it and then jump out. I mean, we got our lives, we got things we got to do, you know, but
that's right.
I want to kind of like an appreciative thing, you know, to
thank you for your support kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do appreciate you all. We really love all of your support. We haven't been doing this podcast very long, and we've already gotten I feel a pretty substantial subscriber base. It's pretty awesome, you know?
Yeah.
Really cool. So thank you all for all of your support. Thank you to John and Squatchaholic, our moderators.
Yeah.
And
Lewis, like we said, Lewis couldn't be here because his uncle's really sick. John Rodriguez is one of the moderators in the show. So, you know, say some prayers for him because he really needs it. You know, everybody needs prayers. So we pray for everybody, you know.
And prayers to Lewis, and a big, huge thank you to Lewis. Ever since his computer crash and everything, he's just been behind the scenes, just working his butt off. It's incredible what he's doing behind the scenes to make sure that me and Christy are prepared for the next week, and our guests are prepared for the next week. The notifications go out. He's on the Facebook group constantly. I mean, he's got so much on his plate, and we just want to say thank you, Lewis, for all of your hard work, and get well soon, John. We like to see you back in the chat. So thank you, Squatchaholic, for pulling double duty, and we couldn't do it without you.
Well, I was monitoring the chat room, but my phone died, so I couldn't monitor it. So
Right. And I mean, I've been trying to glance over at the chat too. I got the chat on my phone also, but I have mine plugged in. So
yeah, well, mine it's kind of hard to get to an extension without here because there's one way on the other side, and I can't.
Right.
I don't have Sasquatch on, so I can't reach it.
Well, if anybody can send Christy a 20-foot extension cord, let's get that done.
Yeah.
And, we'll get going. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank y'all.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank y'all for coming. And like I said, put in the comments below. Let me know what you think would be a great gift card idea. So, you know, that way, like I said, y'all can get one of these little dudes. He's so cute.
Right. So I don't know if anybody's seen my latest discovery.
No, what you discovered? Oh, you took a pumpkin. It bit it?
Yep. Put a big bite mark in it. I did a whole examination of it.
Wait. Thom is back. Hold on. He's sideways. Thom, you're sideways. Turn your tablet.
I'm tired.
So we had, there you go. We had double Toms. Now we had sideways Toms. Now we're going to have upside down Thom.
Wow. We've got so many Toms. There
you went black. There you go. There he goes out.
Now he's being magician Thom. He's pulling his disappearing axe again. He's been hanging out with this Bigfoot too long.
I'm telling you. I love what Duke said, Doppler Thom.
Right.
And Sharon Guy said twins, and then somebody else said, "Where's your brother, Thom?" Oh no. Let's see.
That is great.
Tell Wildcat to quit chewing the cord. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, Rick wanted to know how often we do this. Rick, we do this every Sunday at 7:00 my time and
5:00 Pacific.
5:00 your time, which is California's time.
Right.
So, Purple Hobbit, my friend.
Sunday. I think we've only missed one show.
Yeah, well, that's because we had an array of hurricanes this past season, one after one. So we was bound to get hit, and we did. And I lost electricity, and I got sick. So yeah, no, I didn't have COVID.
Yeah, you lost electricity for days, not just a few hours. It was
4 days.
So yeah, but I mean.
I'm seeing if Thom might come back on again. Let's just give him a few minutes. Let's see.
I mean, I lost count of how many shows we've done now.
I don't know. We've done many back to back. I mean, you and Lewis had started it off and had a couple of people on the shows, good people, and then I came in and then we did more. So
and to miss only one show, I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's hit or miss. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect time, and
absolutely,
you know,
it's a good way to end a good weekend. You know.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
But then comes Monday and work. Ugh.
Yeah, you know what? A little bit just before it kind of gets their mind off of everything that's going to go on Monday, and then at least they can hopefully enjoy a few more hours of their evening before they have to get up to the dreaded Monday.
37 episodes you had.
37. There we go. See,
Thank you, Squad.
Yep. Thank you. 37 episodes already. I can't believe that.
Wow.
So, what, 52 weeks in a year?
Yeah.
So we're
catching up there. We just got to get some more good people on the show so we can interview, you know? I'm ready.
Right, that's right.
If anybody who has experiences or anything, just find me on Facebook, Christy Sy, you know?
Or if you have experience, stories you want to talk about, even if you just want to learn from mine or Christy's experiences and what we've learned in our experiences, email me, SoCalForestNinjas@hotmail.com.
Or even get Lewis.
Or, yeah.
What is it,
North County Bigfoot @gmail.com.
Yep.
Email any of us, we'll get you on the show. So, and you want to talk about theories, you want to talk about your experiences, it's all good. I mean, we don't discriminate here. This is the way we're going to put the puzzle together. You know what I mean? So
working together and trying to figure things out, pretty much.
That's right. You sit there and do a 1,000-piece puzzle by yourself in a matter of a couple weeks, or you can do it in a couple hours with 10 people.
Exactly.
So let's get her done. Let's come together, work together, and get it done.
Exactly. Well, I guess Thom ain't coming back on. So, what we'll do is, like we say, we thank Thom for coming on, and I'm sorry about the multitude of happenings with his internet service. He's got good books, and his website again is www.thomcantrall.com. If anybody wants to go and get his book, and I'm going to do that.
And, keep in mind, he's been doing this over 60 years.
Yeah.
Over 60 years. I don't know of anybody else that's been doing this that long. It's still alive, at least, you know what I mean? He's an absolute icon.
He's definitely an icon. And there's several of them that are out there that have the experience like Thom. We have Duke. Right. Duke has multiple extensions of different encounters with different things, Right. And each of these people have their own experiences and have like we say, we're not saying experts, but they in tune to what they know and they sharing with us, you know.
And their experiences are going to be different. Well, for one, because they're dealing with a different individual that belongs to a different clan who was raised differently. So that, we're all going to have different experiences, but we're all going to have those very similar, slightly similar kind of things happen too, but that just goes with the whole regional thing that Thom was talking about.
Exactly.
So, even me and Lewis have discovered, the differences. He's in San Diego, I'm in LA. It's literally only a couple-hour drive away. His do things differently than mine, but at the same time, they do a lot of the same similar stuff.
Exactly.
But slightly different. So.
And that's why we have good people out here who, like we said before, we don't say experts. I'm not a researcher. I'm an explorer. I like to explore and understand and like just like them being curious.
Right.
I thank all the people who've had the multiple encounters, and I appreciate and understand.
Right. I wouldn't call myself a researcher either, although
I'm an explorer.
some of my examination videos may suggest I'm a researcher, but I would consider myself a friend.
Exactly.
I'm there when I go up there on Saturday mornings. I'm going to see friends. I'm going to see friends for breakfast. Essentially, that's my outlook on it. That's my attitude.
Exactly. And that's why hopefully next year I can get a chance to go, and like I asked them to do the expedition. I would love to get out there with other people and see what they do and how they do it,
Absolutely, because that's how we learn from each other.
Exactly. And the ones who are close drawn to them,
Right. Right.
And you know where I'm going with this, so you understand.
Right. Right. So
only the ones who are on that level know.
There's probably a lot of people on that level that we don't even know about just because they keep it to themselves.
Exactly.
So until we get the word out to meet those people and possibly talk them into telling us some of their stories, there's a lot of information out there that people do have that we just aren't going to get because they're going to take it to their grave. So, and I get it. I totally get it,
Exactly.
Especially in the world we live in today. So, I get it,
We get it. Exactly. Well, I'm going to end this session. And like I said, we thank Thom Cantrall for coming on. And we're sorry, Lewis, that you wasn't being able to be here with us to be a part of it. Thank everyone.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah, he is. We thank everybody for tuning in and being there for us. And don't worry, Duke, I am. That's what I was saying. There's a couple people that I want to go with, and you're one of them. And so is Thom, and there's a couple other people that I would like to go out there with. So we have to talk about it and arrange different things,
That would be great if you could get up to see Duke.
Yes.
Montana at the same time. I'm at my father-in-law's property in northern Idaho. And then you both could come over and hang out with the ones on my father-in-law's property.
Rick, you're bad.
So that would be cool if that all worked out like that,
Yeah, but definitely.
Unfortunately, our wonderful governor has put another travel ban on California as of.
Are you serious?
Whatever.
Well,
I don't even want to discuss politics right now because I'm just.
Yeah, well, they said Louisiana was down. We're down low because the people aren't like most of them want to get together. Yes, Rick, you. The Purple Hobbit. They're not like Mardi Gras. They're not clustering up with people. Oh, I know, Sharon.
Yeah, I know. California. The people don't. They don't really care.
Yeah, Duke said California's locked down forever.
You might be right, Duke. You may be right. You might absolutely be right because I could walk down. I've been out driving around for work and I've seen people at parks. Literally 70 people at a birthday party in a park. Not one's wearing a mask.
Huh.
The people actually at the family across the street from me, literally across the street, every Friday and Saturday, they have 15 to 20 people over there.
Well, that's why. Because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but that's.
I know.
It's stupidity, but And another thing is too, when you see these people, they come on the news and the women are talking, oh, COVID, COVID, and they ain't got no mask on.
It's because the camera's 6 feet away from them.
Well, they're standing next to people, and you're gonna sit here and tell us what to do, and you're not doing it yourself. But whatever, it's a fact, and we know this. It's gonna spread. It's a virus. People are gonna catch it. Just take precautions. Wash your hands, and
I'm beginning to think that this is becoming a survival of the fittest. This is Mother Nature.
I mean,
getting at us, you know what I mean? Look how much we screwed up the world, the planet itself. This is Mother Nature coming back going, you know what, this is too much. I need to thin some of you out. So here you go. Deal with this for a little while. And whoever survives, survives. I don't know. I constantly do what I got to do.
I wash my hands. The mask part is, people are saying that's true because you know what? It's not covering up the germs. You're gonna come in contact. It's probably
everywhere.
It's everywhere. You know.
I mean, you go to a grocery store, you got the stock people. You got the manufacturers handling the products, putting them into packages, shipping them out to the distributors. You got the distributors touching them, sending them out into individual stores. You've got the stock people at that store stocking them on the shelves. It goes through 4 or 5 different people before it even gets put on a shelf. And then you have people coming in shopping going, well, let me read the ingredients. Well, let me put that. That's not what I want. That's not gluten-free.
Nice to meet you.
You're not, I mean.
I don't know.
It's survival of the fittest at this point.
That's it. That's why I said go in the woods and stay away, Camping is the best thing. Get away from people, get away from society, go in the woods, be with the Squatches and be one. As Duke says, don't hug the Wookiee.
You know what's funny when you say about going to the woods and hide? I have a friend that moved up into the hills, and a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and he used to come visit me at least once or twice a year, but then every time he'd come here, he'd get sick.
Really?
And then when he gets home, he's fine for the whole year. Then he'll come visit me and he'll get sick. Well, he finally just quit coming to visit me because every time he does, he gets sick. So a lot less people up there, a lot cleaner air. You're above the whole smog layer. Your body adapts to it. So when you come down to areas like this, you're no longer immune to the stuff you've built up. And, and he grew up down here, So he quit. He's all, dude, I haven't been sick in 3 years since I quit coming down there. I don't doubt it. I'm like, you see the air from where you're at? He's all, I know, it's all brown down there.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
I know California has really good weather because my friend that was down here with her 2 kids, one of her kids has got that eczema really bad, and it was really bad for her daughter. So that when they moved to California, her skin cleared up.
That's odd. I would have figured it would have gotten worse.
I know that's right, Bomber. She says, I'm so hug deprived. If that Wookiee came in for a hug, I'd hang on and not let go. I know that's
right. I could see her latching on to its legs just like a child does to their daddy or their mom, and they just walking around all stiff-legged with the child on their leg. I could see her do it. Big old fast walk. No, I'm not leaving. Just go. Just walk. I'll stay here. I could picture her doing that. That's funny.
But I'd be like me. I'd be under the kneecap. From 10 foot to 5'2", I'd be like a tick on the back of the Sasquatch.
I'd be like, you know what, dude? Just toss me on your shoulders. Just toss me on your shoulders, and let's go.
Well, here you go. You know, I found a drawing on the internet with a Squatch holding a person like this, and the face, and it looks just like my face. I was like, what? That's pretty cool. Like, wow, I gotta order that picture. Might hang it in the background. But Barb came in. What's up, Barb? You missed the show. Barb? I love you, Barb. That's another one that I want to go Sasquatching with.
I would love to get her on the show.
Yes. Barb, you need to come on.
So.
Yep. So anyway, everybody, we're gonna end it now. Y'all have a good night. Love all y'all. Prayers, blessing, peace be with every one of y'all. So have a good night.
We'll see y'all next week, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this out, and hit that bell and do what else you got to do, and give it a thumbs up or whatever, and help us get this out, and so we can grow and get bigger and get more information and meet more wonderful people such as Thom Cantrall. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, Squatchaholic, for being our wonderful moderator, and thank you everybody for coming. Thank you, Christy, for all the hard work you put in. And
no problem.
You'll definitely keep us posted on your giveaway you're doing. And
yes, yeah. Like I said, there's a few other people that came in. Let me do it again one more time, and then we're gonna be doing something else too. So I'm gonna let we'll get together on it. But what I'm doing is I'm picking 4 names, 2 for men, 2 for females. I'm gonna have 2 of these and 2 of the other ones with a gift card. So that way, for Christmas, everybody gets a lovable Sasquatch. He's so soft. Dude, he's really soft. I mean, I love this thing.
It looks like real Sasquatch fur.
Yeah, it does. It looks like my hair color, like some parts of it, but I try to hide the gray, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's really, it's cute, So, and Patrick, you're a punk. Vaughn, not Noble. Vaughn. Anyway, all right, y'all. Good night. Love you. See y'all later. On the
go get Thom's books.
Don't hug the Wookiees, Sasquatch, and Bigfoots.
Yeah, everybody go check out Thom's books. Make sure you order one of those bundles, and
yep,
they're great info. I mean, he's definitely an icon in the topic, and been doing it a long time. So go check out his books. They make great Christmas gifts.
Yes. So,
all right. With that being said,
peace, Sasquatch grease.
Happy hunting.